feedback there as well. Hello. Come one, come all. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. You know what we do. Yeah. God, it's midnight right now. You know what we do, what we don't, what we is, what we isn't, and what we is here today. Dealing with a very late live reaction to One Piece chapter 1138, while also having all the fun in the world of being completely exhausted. Right? Today has been a long day. I'm keen for this chapter. It is literally 12:04 where I am. I have to get to bed soon, but I couldn't wait any longer. I wanted to just get into this chapter and not waste my beautiful time having fun with this. For those of you that don't know as well, one thing I always do is remember big milestones and people's, special days and that, based on what chapters it is. So I've got a friend in real life whose birthday is this week, so this is a birthday chapter for them, so I'm forever linking this chapter with them. If it's your birthday this week, this is your birthday chapter, let me know. That being said, we're going to get straight into the greatness that is One Piece chapter 1138. The title of the chapter is Harley. I'm assuming this has got to do with the Harley texts then? Okay, so we're going to learn more about Sun God, maybe? Hopefully. Just a teeny-weeny little bit. We'll see. I also apologize. I'm getting notifications left, right, and whatever. The stream wasn't syncing up properly earlier from OBS. It was from Streamlabs, so I've had to transition to a slightly different live for it to work, so I do apologize for that, but it is what it is. So we have Only Child Yamato and the Holy Inaru Shrine Pilgrimage Volume 24. The base belongs to Who's Who. And we see Who's Who surrounded by his cat girls groping him up. The rest of the crew survived. Honestly speaking, he is looking clean, fun, and weirdly enough, way taller than he did before. He was already a tall dude, right? But he looks ginormous here. I ain't gonna front. But he looks like he's completely fine after his little bout with the one and only Jinbei. Also, we know those horns of his are natural, so maybe this has something to do with the horns of the people that have the ancient giant blood. Ooh, maybe that's why Oda's bringing him back into the fray of things. Exciting. I don't see any of the other people other than some of the courtesans. So I don't think there's been a whole lot of people that have been kidnapped, but who knows? Let's get into... Oh my god, I almost forgot. Oh, we're getting Shamrock. Okay. The aftermath of Loki's defiance. Huff. You're the spitting image of Red Hair. Oh, so he can see? He can see through the bandages. His eyes are still covered. You're the spitting image of Red Hair Shanks. Do you really think I'll just write that off as a coincidence? And Shamrock looks over his shoulder. Mind your own business. That matter has nothing to do with you. You're not wrong, but a great pirate and a celestial dragon. They're polar opposites. You can't blame me for being curious. Anyone would find it strange that you two share the same face. Ooh, I love that perspective shot of the Atom Tree there. The pirate you're referring to is my younger twin. I called this. I've been calling this. This has been done, called, right? I said they were twins, and I always said that Shanks was the younger brother. I also have been saying for 1 to 2 years now that this man or Garling, again, I was only saying Garling until we had the confirmation of this man or Garling is Jewelry Bonnie's biological father, her Fajar, right? I have my money absolutely banking on it at the moment. Oof. Here we go. You're the pirate you're referring to is my younger twin. He went astray. At one point, he did return to the Holy Land, but it seems he grew too attached. to the filthy world of the surface. Yo, clone theory dead. Charon, clone theory's out. Clone theory's out. Shanks is a little bro. Yeah, dude. Shanks always has that, aloof little bro energy. He doesn't have that, eldest brother responsibility energy going for him. He returned? Huh. I see. It's funny how I ended up hating both of you brothers. And I thought my grudge couldn't get any worse. What a family. You bastards. When I get out of these chains, you know what I'll do, right? I'll make it my mission to make sure my buddies are avenged. Was that supposed to be a threat? Dude, I just love, Shamrock's outfit. I'm not a big fan. It's not that I'm not a big fan of his design. I just don't like. I don't like from the thigh down the big fucking gauntlet-y, high-rise leg boots for armor. Either be armored up or don't be armored up, right? To me, I don't like from the waist down, right? But so far, I'm not gonna lie, Shamrock has been doing shit that I've wanted Shanks to be doing for a minute. And what I mean by that is just showing up and showing out. He hasn't even done anything yet. So it's he's already on equal terms with Shanks in a sense. But it's the dude just being more active has me excited. And also, if you haven't noticed, he's got the side beard. So I've been saying this as well this last week, right? The person that went to see the Gorosei is still Shanks because that one only had a goatee. He didn't have the side stubble. Shamrock has a side stubble too. Shanks doesn't have that. Was that supposed to be a threat? Captain, you don't have to. I know. He isn't worth getting my hands dirty. Isn't that right? Ooh. Isn't that right, Cerberus? Huh. To all the years, all of you, Blackbeard clearly has a Cerberus fruit. You don't understand. You're an idiot. He is a Cerberus. Me sitting there going, it doesn't fit his aesthetic. I might as well just wrap this stream up here. I don't care what happens in the rest of the chapter. That's not true, but it's Blackbeard doesn't have the Cerberus fruit. Your theory's dead in the water. Yo, thank you, Oda. Right? I'm telling you, Blackbeard coming for that Buddha fruit, or for a fruit we haven't seen at all in the story yet. All right, that Buddha fruit though, looking mighty auspicious for the big fella. Isn't that right, Cerberus? And he draws his sword, clearly not a black blade. Shanks and Shamrock, the Hawk victims. Sorry, had something in my throat then. One of the biggest theories in the community died today. That wasn't okay. It was a big theory, but not for good reasons. For lazy reasons. The only people that thought Blackbeard had a Cerberus fruit are people that don't pay attention to Blackbeard, what Blackbeard's about, what Blackbeard represents, and the entire motif, narrative, and emotions around Blackbeard. I don't think people truly appreciate yet that Blackbeard is a D. Because everyone looks at him and is like, oh, clearly he's a bad guy to Luffy, right? His descendants come from allies of Joy Boy, right? And yeah, there's normally a traitor in the midst, but if anything, that's probably Law's family, considering they got the water in the name, right? Blackbeard, the Marshall D family, right? Look. If Blackbeard gets a third fruit, it's probably a zone. If Blackbeard gets a third fruit and it's probably a zone, it's probably not going to be a zone that resembles darkness, because that's what the Guruguru no Mi does. It's probably going to be a zone that either represents a form of destruction or a form of intelligence, right? The reason for that is because Blackbeard is two things. He's smart and he's destructive, right? If Blackbeard's going to do anything, it's going to be associated with those two things, right? And you also got to remember, he's a fucking fat man. odor isn't going to stop him being a fat man. If he had the Cerberus fruit, he was going to be a fat dog. Do you really want a Garfield motherfucker walking around? And I know Garfield's a cat, but do you really want a Garfield motherfucker walking around, right, pretending like it's badass? It's not. Like, it makes more sense for him to be a Buddha or something like that. Or just something with a fat gut. Right? Let this man Blackbeard. Let this man Blackbeard just represent what he represents, alright? Ooh. Really interesting. Oh, it's awakened? The sword is awakened. You're shitting me. That's hilarious. We got scrap metal. We've got scrap metal awakening their devil fruits before most top tiers. How do I know he's awakened? The clouds, the Neo clouds around the back of it. Those are awakening clouds. Get on, brother. That means, ooh, oh, that is some beautiful lore here. Because two things, right? Two super important things here. Number one, as far as we knew, this was recent technology developed by Vegapunk in the last 2 to 3 years of the story. It was less than 12 months old when One Piece started. That technology was less than a year old. So meaning in the last 3 years, either this happened or Vegapunk learnt that you can feed objects, devil fruits, from Shamrock. That is super important. The second thing is, in 3 years, hypothetically, that means this thing has awakened. Number three, that goes more into my, when swords are forged, they're forged with a will, and if that will is aligned with something, it will resonate. If this sword was aligned with Cerberus is the guard of hell, right? Or one of the guards of the underworld. If you're regarding as what Sabo said, Marijois is hell, Marijois is the underworld flipped upside down, then by being the captain of the God Knights, if the sword was forged for the captain of the God Knights, then this sword is awakened because it is held by the captain of the God Knights who guards hell. And that sword resonates with them. That is some beautiful poetry there. I didn't notice them. I feel a little bit that Imu can force awaken zone devil fruits. Somehow speeding up the process. I didn't think inanimate objects could awaken. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Inanimate objects, as far as we know, couldn't awaken until now. This is the first inanimate object that's awakened. But the fact that it's awakened means either if you if you give a devil fruit enough time without forcing it to do something and it can do what it wants, it'll awaken because its true form is the awakening for a zone, right? And there's no human soul or something fighting it. Or you've got the object itself, in this case being the sword, having the same will. That is huge. And does that mean if his sword got broken, it would regenerate? Since it's an awakened zone and they have fast recovery? On some Zubbers' sword? Yo, good morning, Blood. Like, if Mihawk was to hypothetically fight Shamrock and break his sword at some point, would his sword re-heal because it's an awakened zone? How's Loki saying, bro? I was saying that before. Like, it's either through the bandages or this man has some weird way of just seeing with the all-seeing eye. Yo, what am I looking at? That's a blade coming out of the mouth. What the hell is that? Huh? And the mouth opens up and the sword comes out on black fire. It's my biting blade. Yo, getting impaled and then bitten in by a weapon so you can't pull the blade out actually would be pretty ruthless. What's with this creepy thing? Ooh, what's that sound effect? Okay, so its collar starts rotating, so it's kind of like old mate from the Dofi Pirates with the propeller. Huh? Captain, let's clean it up here and move on. Scramble. Do you know what I think the craziest part of this is to me right now? Genuinely, the thing that I think is actually the most shocking about this, and this might sound really weird because it's kind of got nothing to do with what's happening here. Shamrock and Shanks are twins, meaning they're both 40. Doflamingo's 40. Doflamingo's born the same year as these guys. Could you imagine if Doflamingo's dad, Homing, never booted him out of Marijois? If Doflamingo got trained with these guys, maybe instead of the string fruit, got something a little more powerful? Just how ridiculous Dofi would be right now? Like, Dofi really got kicked out of the, really just got kicked out of, like, a solid freaking ridiculous shot up the upper echelons of life there. Captain, let's clean up here and move on. Scramble. Ooh, and the heads shoot off the Cerberus. We see its full body there. And it gets brought back into the sword. And we see the sword, when it transforms, the body of the sword is the body of Cerberus. So it's like he's like holding its collar with the blade essentially, but it is still a sword itself. That is cool. That is a lot better than Funk Freed, I ain't gonna lie. Feel free to hunt me down anytime. I'll face you then, assuming you survive this. Hey, you gotta be kidding me. Huh? No way. If that thing gets me... Those celestial dragon bastards, damn it. I have a question. The blade here. Okay, help me out here, guys. Help me out here. These three blades. Is this black fire on them? Some other form of fire, maybe ice even? Or is this us seeing Haki, and instead of it being lightning, it is so potent that it has become a flame that just permanently drenches the weapon? Or is this something to do with the awakening? Because there is black flame dripping off the blade. From what I can tell, it's not making the Haki sound effects. But that is super unusual. And these heads launch off. This reminds me of Ghosts and Ghouls. Or Ghouls and Ghosts. Like, you don't let my PFP down. Yo, no, 100%, 100%. So it launches in and they fly off. Total subjugation isn't feasible now. Let's start by taking their children hostage. We'll need an extra person. Understood. Who shut up? Bro just claimed with his full chest out, damn, this ain't gonna go how I thought. Damn. Well, it's only Elbaf, the world's strongest country. There's two of us here. A third person should do, and we'll be able to settle this. Like, what? Either you are way too overconfident, or you are packing some powerful BS. I bet on it being something to do with awakening. It could. It definitely could be something with the awakening. Oust Castle. I'm telling you, it was red hair. Liar. Shanks would never attack for. Okay, so this is now Luffy's perspective. Shanks would never attack for no reason. It's the truth. I saw him with my own eyes. Red hair has visited Elbaf many times. I recognized him. But I know Shanks. He's a super cool guy. Maybe it just was someone who looked like him. It was shocking. We were wondering what he was doing in the castle. He just left Elbaf recently, right? Wouldn't it be weird for him to come right back just to skulk around? Even if you're telling the truth, there's no way it could be Shanks. Shanks is always calm and laid back. Him doing something like this doesn't add up. To be fair, he didn't attack them. That was Gunko. He didn't even really say a word. Huh. You really have faith in him, huh? You betcha, Nami. It'd tick you off too, just as much if someone badmouthed Telmere. It's Bellamere-san. So it was a lookalike. That, or a brother maybe? Shanks' brother? Well, if he has one, he'd probably be a nice guy too. But honestly, he never talked about his family. I heard that he was raised on a pirate ship from when he was... Yo! It's Scopper. Okay, I'm happy. It's Scopper. It's Scopper. That's settled. It's Scopper. I heard that he was raised on a pirate ship from when he was little. Right? And we see the dude with the straw hat, the blonde, long hair, right? He looks like he's walking up here. This is the same dude from the Crocus cover story because we finally get a full look at him on this island and he's not in silhouette anymore. I figured Roger and Rayleigh were his real family. Scopper. Their whole crew except for Buggy. Oh, I feel you. I didn't even read that properly. I figured Roger and Rayleigh were his real family, their whole crew, except for Buggy. Luffy, you petty bastard. And he's walking up, and you can hear him contemplating as they mention Buggy. Buggy catching strays, yo. Buggy always catching strays, man. Frankie's group, the Treasure Tree, Adam. Unbelievable. Adam Wood as far as the eye can see. And I thought it was meant to be rare. Wow, I had no idea it was so valuable overseas. Oh my god. Frankie, she's a married man. Don't let her pick you up like a toy. Right? I don't like the way she's smiling and laughing and giggling at you, brother. She's a married man. Frankie's got too much aura. Especially when he's out here looking like Jesus Burgess. Maybe I should start selling some on the side. Weren't you sent here to keep an eye on me? Saul seemed pretty strict about it. He was all like, it's a sacred tree, bucko. Don't go cutting it down now, you hear? Sounds just like him. Still, I guess stealing from under the nose of giants is a tall order. Maybe that explains the markup. Huh? What's that? It's a mural. It's Void Century shit? We're getting Void Century shit. Alright. It's a graffiti from eons ago. Okay, whatever the fuck this thing is, the name of the chapter's Harley, so we're going to probably cut over to the Harley text. The question is, are we going to get the Harley text this chapter? Right? Read? Oh god, okay. Oh no, I'm not ready for this. Okay. Some kids probably etched right into the bark, and it got fossilized. It's now designated as a cultural heritage site thanks to its enormous historical value. It's a punk's doodle. That big a deal? Is a punk's doodle that big a deal? It's said to date back somewhere between 900 and 800 years ago. If that's true, that would place it right in the middle of the Void Century. What? We've got to show Robin. She'll be thrilled. What am I fucking looking at here? Hold up. Hey, ain't this drawing kind of odd for old Elbaf? Not all the figures look like giants. quite as far as we know, there were definitely times where the races of the world clashed, but this kind of cooperation is unheard of. That's why I think it was probably just some kid's dream. I've got goosebumps right now. Okay, we cut away from this thing. Can I see the drawing over there? Or is that tree? Hold up. Walrus School. Kya! Classes in session, everybody. Listen up. Kya 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 kya. So this is HARLEY. Oh, this is the HARLEY. Yep. Whoa, it's a big and old book. Giant dust. This pretty tome here preserved many of the rich myths and legends of Elbath, although it spawned countless interpretations, too. That's why all of the warriors in Elbath believe in very different versions of the sun god. Ain't that the funniest thing you ever heard? May I read it? Of course. The narrative is split into 3 distinct sections. It's said that the third world refers to the present day, meaning it's a type of prophecy. This leans more into my conversation about the One Piece being a future sight prophecy. I've been saying it for like freaking 7 years now. Ever since Katakuri was introduced, actually. So like, what? 2015, 2016? 9 years? For 9 years, I've been saying the One Piece may be a future sight vision passed down from ancient times, telling the stories of the last Joy Boy, all this... Well, I didn't say it was Joy Boy back then, but like, you know, telling the story of the Void Century and then prophesizing it about Luffy. I've been saying this. I also think it's a future sight vision. Look, I've been saying this for nearly a decade. My new legends of Nika have spread silently all over the world. The only thing they all have in common is that he appears with a booming laugh to this beat. Dum 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 dum. I'll read it aloud then. The first world, I can already see that there's a lot to this. Hold up. The first world, the earth burned in endless flame, and the hearts of men. Oh! Oh! Oh, hold up. Okay. So this is the end of the chapter. Okay. A deep mythology unveiled. Hold up. We got Frankie here. We've got Tex over here. What the fuck? This is just like on Sky Island. I see the Arc Max. Hold the fuck up. Let me read this. The first world, the earth burned in endless flame, and in the hearts of men burned with desire. From whispered prayers the sun god rose, beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star. The god of the land was enraged. With a serpent of fire, they cast the world into ruin. Darkness fell. Death reigned. They would not meet again. The second world, a breath stirred in the abyss. The god of the forest wove their magic, nurturing its devils. While the sun lit the embers of war, those of the half-crescent and full moons dreamed. Yet the one who slew the sun deified themselves, evoking the wrath of the sea god. They would not meet again. The third world, chaos reigns. The world drifts in a void. Yet time does not erase the memory of the promised day. Its shadow looms as the voice of the half moon echoes through the ages. And once more the sun god shall rise, laughing, dancing, guiding the world to its final act. The sun is reborn, a new dawn will break. Surely, this time they will meet. Okay. First things first, we see Yggdrasil in the middle here. Or the world tree, or atom tree, I think. For reading in Japanese, it's right to left, so the right refers to the first world, middle the second world, the left the third world. Or this is only showing two worlds, the first and the second world, and it's not showing the third world, because that's the current story. Center above the tree, the celestial dragon is clearly Im, right? With a serpent of fire. That serpent of fire. Okay. Hold up. There is so much going on here. I see Lunarians. I see what looks like ancient Oni Lunarians. Okay, hold up. This giant serpent that breathes fire, that's the fucking red line. The red line is the fossilized remains of the giant fire serpent. And I can fucking prove that. I thought the Gorosei were maybe a new character. No, hold up. The giant serpent is clearly the red line because you actually have the, if you've never known, okay, I'm gonna just pull this up here. Jormungandr. If you've never noticed the Jormungandr art, and I mean proper Jormungandr art, right? I'm talking about this, right? The Great Fire Serpent. This is how Jormungandr actually looks in like the ancient world history like stuff, right? If you've never noticed, there's runes on the red line. Oh, come on. It's on Reverse Mountain. Here we go. The reverse mountain symbols. Right? The reverse mountain symbols have the imaging carved into them, right? On Reverse Mountain, which is where you would have the snake eating its own tail, they have the image of the giant serpent, right? And then when you go to Little Garden, they refer to the only thing that Dorinbrogi can't cut down is the great serpent soaked in blood. So I'm assuming that fire serpent is the red line, which the earth burned in endless flame. So if the earth burned in endless flame, that's probably the original mother flame. And in the hearts of men, burned with desire, from whispered prayers, the sun god rose. So if you've got a mother flame, it led rise to the sun god, or maybe the first deity. Beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star. So maybe not everyone was allowed to have access to the Mother Flame. And this is what this is showing here. Because this is obviously the ancient kingdom here. Right? With its great factories and producing things. And down here, that looks like the Mother Flame. Down here. That big cog down the bottom with the pressure gauge on it, that's identical essentially to what we've seen from the Mother Flame that Vegapunk made. Right? This is like the first time I've heard this take. And it's peak. How many ancient weapons do you see? Oh, wait, Karen, hold on. Let me go through here, because that's actually something I'm really worried about. I don't see any of the ancient weapons, except for maybe the Mermaid Princess. But that's what worries me, because I think they are all here in some capacity. So hear me out. Hear me out. Right? They're using the Mother Flame to produce energy. The energy being shown here, that sort of like static cloud, is what we actually see NL using, the electricity, to power the ancient civilization on the moon and the moon autonoma. Now remember, the moon autonoma, super important for the Void Century. Especially since they're talking about the people of the moon. The people of the moon are quite literally the people from the moon. Not just Lunarians, but people of the moon. They're producing energy. And they're dying. They're going into the afterlife. Because they've got these halos around their head. They're actively dying, and they're coming back with other souls that they're using to power something. And they're growing bigger, right? These people here get the halo. They're shown going underneath the world, coming out of the world with this energy, and as they go up and up and up, this energy grows and grows and grows and grows, right? Weirdly enough, the earth burned in endless flame, and in the hearts of men burned with desire. From whispered prayers the sun god rose, beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star. The god of the land was enraged with a serpent of fire. They cast the world into ruin. Darkness fell, death reigned, they would not meet again. Right. Okay. Void Century, Imu. Void Century was in darkness. Imu has the sun. No. I think you're actually missing. I don't think that's necessarily what it's saying here. Okay, this is beautiful and hard. The first world, the earth burned in endless flame. The endless flame's the Mother Flame. In the hearts of men burned with desire. From whispered prayers, the sun god rose. So Nika is the second sun god. The sun god, the first sun god, rose. Beckoned by the enslaved. So Nika. So this first world, the first sun god is probably a boy named Nika. Beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star, the god of the land was enraged. With a serpent of fire, he cast the world into ruin. So people wanted more in life. Nika, the god of joy. Nika probably wasn't a god here, but the sun god rose, right? Saying the sun god rose, I don't think they're talking about like the devil fruit that we know. I think we're talking about the inception of Nika here. The inception of the sun god, the inception of the legend. So this boy came to be, right? And they were someone that laughs and was playful. The god of the land. So they reached for the forbidden star. The forbidden star being the mother flame. The god of the land was enraged. With a serpent of fire, they cast the world into ruin. They ruined it by splitting the world with the red line. Darkness fell, death reigned. This actually might be a really weird take. I think those two are separate potentially. Darkness fell might be in relation not to the world going into ruin, but darkness as a person being like darkness personified. The representation of Blackbeard from the Void Century died. When they died, death started reigning. Right? They would not meet again. I'm assuming Joy Boy there, you know the two sovereigns will meet? Saying they will not meet again means Joy Boy, or Nika, sorry, and the Mermaid Princess would not meet. The two sovereigns would not meet again. So this stuff on the right? Look at this. You've got people dying, coming back with energy to fuel the world. You've got the red line, or this serpent in fire, right? You've got the moon above, and notice the stars above, around the moon. So these people are dying and cultivating what looks like stars for the heavens. And we even see above the moon here are those other planets that we see from the One Piece world. From O'Hara. This here, the Arc Maxim with the lightning bolt spewing down. I think this may be the Pluton. A ship that can destroy a country in a shot. I think that's indicative of Pluton. And I think the body of the serpent and this dark shading over on the right is the world flooding for the first time. The water's rising. And then you've got the imagery here of a Skypean ushering in animals and people onto the Noah to survive. And weirdly enough, this silhouette here with the tall crown that looks like it's protecting the Noah actually is probably Imu. I think people aren't really realizing Imu was probably a good guy at one point. Then clearly this up the top here in the middle is the Celestial Dragon, also representative of Imu as well. So I think those two represent Imu. And then we have a Great War challenging the reversed horn giant Onat. Like, to be honest, okay, you ready for this one? Everyone, lock eyes. Sound off in the comments. Sound off in the comments if you're here. You're going to hear my words here. This big fucker on the far left, holding the sun, with the big ass horns, I'm going to put $10 on it right now that's Onigashima. That thing's head is Onigashima. That Wano was built around the corpse of their slain enemy. Because Onigashima is the biggest skeleton we know of. And like, mind you, look at this, right? I don't see no elephant. I don't see no Zunisha on here. But I do see this this giant Oni with black wings holding the sun. And all of this is happening near Elbaf. Right? I see Emeth. That's Emeth there. I see what looks like the leader of the Minks back in the day up there. I see a Lunarian here. Notice the Lunarians are shaded in dark. Right? So you've got Skypean down the bottom right next to the Noah with the down-facing wings. Right? Looking like an angel. But then you've got the Lunarian, and the Lunarian's got the flame on it. Onigashima? Look at that. It's got the black wings. And it's got the sun in its hand. And that's who Joy Boy's fighting there. Now, maybe that's Im. Or maybe that's a emissary of Im in some capacity. Or maybe the 20 Kingdoms bounded together to take out Joy Boy after defeating this great evil. Because he was weakened, and they didn't want another great evil to rise up. But look at this thing. If that's Onigashima, because it's got the horns, it's also a Lunarian. So that sun in its hand, I actually think it's taken the fire off its back to attack. Because you know how the Lunarians can have the fire up on their back and have defense, or they can attack. Ancient Oni giant Lunarian. That's what that symbology right there is shown to me. Which is why you have ancient Onis. You have ancient giants. You have the mermaid princess and her mermaids. You have minks, Lunarians, Nika. And mind you, it's showing that Nika's awakened there. Do you know what else it's showing there? That ancient giant has a spear. Not a sword, a spear. It doesn't have a crosshair. It doesn't have a hilt. Doesn't have a hilt. See, do you know what the thing about a really powerful spear is? If the giants are Norse mythology, right? Anyone can think of some ridiculously strong mythological spears? Yeah? No? No, yeah? No one's potentially thinking about one of Odin's weapons? The ancient Nika fruit has rubber properties. That doesn't make sense. Well, okay, wait. No. Karen. I think you're missing it. First world, there's no devil fruits. There's people. The first world, the earth burned in endless flame, and in the hearts of men burned with desire. From whispered prayers, the sun god rose, right? We're talking about an industrial revolution, and out of the industrial revolution, one comedian rose, right? Beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star, the god of the land was enraged. So you had one jester stand up in an industrial world, and the king, who everyone was serving, gets pissed off and decides to ruin it for everyone. He dies. Dead. Done. Unalived. They would not meet again. Second generation. A breath stirs in the abyss. Right? Yeah. Birdgart. Right? The spear of Elbaf mentioned Odin's spear. That may be our Odin, or it may not be, but that's our spear, man. Listen to this, the second word. A breath stirred in the abyss. The god of the forest wove their magic, nurturing its devils. The god of the forest created devil fruits. So, first word, no devil fruits, but tech, science, evil. Second word starts off with the inception of devil fruits. While the sun lit the embers of war, those of the half crescent, the D, and full moons, right? So we're talking the Ds, the Shimotsukis, the Lunarians, Skypeans, right? Those of the half crescent and full moons dreamed. Yet the ones who slew the sun deified themselves. So in the second world, in the second life, Im and the 20 kingdoms unalive sun god. When they unalive sun god, they were evoking the wrath of the sea god being Imu. Right? They would not meet again. The third world, chaos reigns, the world drifts in void. Yet time does not erase the memory of the promised day. Its shadow looms as the voice of the half moon echoes through the ages, the half moon being the D, and once more the sun god shall rise. Laughing, dancing, guiding the world to its final act. The sun is reborn, a new dawn will break. Surely, this time, they will meet. The two sovereigns will meet. Right? Vegapunk debunked. How is Vegapunk debunked? All this is part of the ancient world, right? If you got devil fruits, specifically Joy Boy in the second world, and maybe he had it in the first world too, right? But it might be one of those things where he doesn't start off with the rubber body and this, that, and the other. The first world happens, the world is destroyed by an evil, corrupt ruler. In the aftermath of that corrupt ruler being defeated, you have two groups. You have the god of the forest and Joy Boy. The god of the forest creates devil fruits, right? Someone from the ancient kingdom develops devil fruits, gives it to people. That's when Nika gets his rubber properties. Karen, what are you talking about? Imagination makes devil fruits. Was Vegapunk's theory? No, it wasn't. Karen, okay. You misunderstood. Okay, this is one of those things that people don't understand what Vegapunk said. When Vegapunk said, anything anyone imagines becomes a reality, he's talking as a scientist. You make your imagination reality. You make it. He wasn't saying, I just think of a devil fruit and it spawns in. It's, I have unlimited resources. I want the ability to control fire. I'm going to create it. Anything I imagine becomes reality. That was Vegapunk's theory. It's just a bunch of people that don't know how to read. Like, Oda says it best himself. It's a matter of reading comprehension. Like, this is what? Chapter 1069? Hold up. I'll pull this up for us all right now, and I'll read it off verbatim. People, like, it's one of those things where it's just like, I've gone over it so many times with people that it's like, it does my head in when people are like, you know, Vegapunk was wrong. Vegapunk wasn't wrong. Oda's even confirmed that Vegapunk isn't wrong in other mediums. It's just people don't listen to what he actually said. They take one word out of a sentence and treat it like it's all in context. Oh, here we go. Hold up. Hang on. Give me 1 second here. I'll be back in one moment. Yo, how did I forget that I muted myself, Charles? Thank you so damn much. Let me rephrase. Let me rewind, right? This is what Vegapunk said directly. Directly. I'm quoting him here. Even in the oldest texts, in the oldest books of Devil Fruit, there is no such thing as a Gum Gum Fruit. So he's not talking about the oldest texts, he's talking about the oldest books. So specifically, after Devil Fruits exist, and they're catalogued, that's when they start mentioning it. Right? He looks just like a god who appears in the oldest of texts. Indeed, the foolish and laughable warrior of liberation who brings smiles to all people, also known as the sun god Nika. You wouldn't have. It's a name that's been erased from the historical records. But as long as people wish for him, his existence will never truly disappear. All things are brought into this world with hope. Even the devil fruits. Every devil fruit is a possibility for human evolution that someone desired. If only I could be like this. If only I could be like that. All of those powers represent the many branches of the future of humanity. Right? But that unnatural status is loathed by the sea, the mother of nature. A fitting punishment for its sin, those with powers exists in different dimensions, dreamed up by someone else before them. This is only my theory, so you see, you don't even need to debate whether any god exists or not. Isn't it just such a fascinating world, right? The reason why that is so important, those with powers exist in different dimensions dreamed up by someone else before them. Essentially what they're saying is, someone wanted those abilities and made those abilities a reality. That's what's happening there. So, when we take a look at the second world, a breath stirred in the abyss. The god of the forest wove their magic, nurturing its devils. So, honestly speaking, we've never seen the top of the sunlight tree Eve. And this tree, if this is Elbas Yggdrasil, this is when it's a sapling. It's only small. It doesn't have the 3 worlds on it yet. But if this is not Elbaf, this is the top of the Eve tree. Remember, Eve was the first human to sin. So if this is the did you try a different translation? No, I haven't tried a different translation yet. To be honest, I trust TCB until the Viz comes out. The Viz normally clears stuff up for me quite a bit. But in the context here, right, I dare say TCB is better than a lot of the other scanlations that are out. We haven't seen the top of Eve or Adam. We've seen the top of the Adam tree, actually. We've never seen the top of the Eve tree. I'm wondering if this is the Eve tree here, and what looks like these leaves is potentially the devil fruits being brought into existence. Ooh! No! This bottom part here, where the conveyor belt is going down into the afterlife and then coming up out of the afterlife, right? That shaded bit where the crown person that looks like Im is standing on, is that Zunisha? Because at first I thought it was a boat, but it looks like its trunk is lifting up with 2 oars coming off it. There's a bunch of things hiding behind the scrolls. You can see a small moon next to the big one. Well, I raised that up earlier. It's not that it's a small moon next to the big one. Those are the other planets, and we see these from the model in O'Hara. That's what a lot of people think. So okay, let's have a look at it here, right? This whale, I feel like, is the whale tree that's on top of Zanisha. Because we haven't seen a sky whale, but you see this rain coming down from on top? Remember, when they were at Zunisha, they kept looking at the whale going, we can sense an immense presence coming from it. And everyone chalks it up to Zanisha, but they do keep death staring that whale. Yeah, it does look like an elephant, yeah. So, having a deep dive look at this, we've got the samurai from Wano. We've got shuriken, samurai sword with their top knot. Above them, we've got the Kuja on the Kuja style ships, which is like the double canoe, right? Above that, we've got Emeth. Above that, we've got Minx. We've got this whale. Not sure what the whale represents. Like, you know, there's the whale tears, there's the Moby Dick, and then there's the whale tree. It's probably invoking some sort of imagery from one of them. You've got a Lunarian here coming from above. You've got Nika there in the middle ground. And again, Nika here is being drawn significantly darker than everyone else. So I feel like he's probably a Lunarian or half Lunarian. Underneath that, you've got another mink. You've got a mermaid princess with a fish. You've got a Tontada mink giant. Ooh. Hold up. All of these ships are heading to the left. And all the ships that are heading to the... All the ships that are heading to the left... There's this one ship heading to the right. The one ship that's heading to the right looks like it's also flying through the air. It looks like all of these ships are using the same rainbow technology that's in Elbaf. Hold up, what am I missing here? These guys look like they're from Wano. Yeah. I just said that before. So that's to do with the top knot and the samurai sword. So they look like they're from Wano. To be fair, Kuma has a darker complexion. That could be a buccaneer likeness. I mean, I hate to do this. Kuma doesn't have a darker complexion. If you've never noticed this is the sad truth in One Piece, right? Everyone has the same complexion. And even though they say the Lunarians are darker, they are all colored with the same complexion in the manga. Anytime there's a color spread, Oda uses the same coloring for any and all individuals that aren't, like, quite literally rainbow colored like a fish. What do you think are those spiky balls that the guys are carrying on the elevator? Yeah, okay, so here. I'll bring this up. This will be good. NL cover series. Here. Let's just jump on it together. NL goes in and he finds the lost city of Burka. In the lost city of Burka, he reignites it, and you see all these autonoma The winged race of people awaken. The electricity goes around the whole city. Now see how the electricity is all that spiky energy? We see these orbs with the spiky electricity energy power up, and that fuels the city. Oda is wild with his colouring. I mean, look, for better or worse, Oda uses one skin tone in colouring for all people, because if someone represents you, they just represent you. You know what I mean? Like, it's... I understand, like... He the only people he goes out of his way to mention have a darker complexion are the Lunarians. Apart from that, everyone has the same skin tone in the entire series, apart from Fishmen. Right? The difference is, if you feel like they represent you, they represent you. It's as simple as that. Everyone, like... In a way, it's cowardly for not being able to, have that diversity outright, but at the same point in time, it's brave because everyone can feel represented by everyone else. It depends on whether or not you connect with them. But here, even look at these poneglyphs here, right? This is the Sky People building the Autonoma, right? And when they build the Autonoma, they were crying, the moon ran out of resources and they went down to the blue sea. When the moon ran out of resources and they went down to the blue sea, this is obviously before that Void Century fighting. But in NL's cover series, right, and chapter 474 shows it well, right? You got these orbs of electricity. That's what these look like they are. Orbs of electricity, and they're coming from the Mother Flame. So down here on the bottom right of the panel, this giant cog with the hourglass, like the clock in the middle. That's what the Mother Flame looks like. I think that's the energy that Vegapunk was talking about that is everywhere. Well, weirdly enough, look at the whole place. The entire mural has fire around it. Like, everywhere has fire around it. And they've got the earth burned in endless flame. I'm gonna ask a really messed up question. If the world burned in endless flame, was the flooding of the world agreed on by everyone to put out the flames? Joy Boy Imu, the 20 kingdoms that made the celestial dragons, the samurai mermaids, this, that, and the other. Was the first flooding a good thing and used to put out the entire earth that was on fire? No, they don't. They don't say that the world flooding was a result of war. Specifically what they say. Let me bring that up. They said that there's a war that's still continuing, which we're up to the third act of that war, right? But the world flooding isn't strictly from war. And remember, Vegapunk doesn't have all the answers for it. So this could be a matter of misinterpretation. Because remember, the Roger Pirates said that they came to a completely different conclusion too. Ooh, okay, it's not that one. I don't blame Vegapunk for not knowing who the good guys were, lol. Yeah, well, again, what about the hypothetical, right? That they were all allies. They all fought these bigger, badder monsters. These leviathans, so to say. And after fighting these leviathans, right? What ends up truly happening? Here we go, it's chapter 115. After fighting these leviathans, everyone's looking at each other thinking who's going to be the next Leviathan, who's going to be the next grab for power. And so they scramble for a grab for power first, not wanting to be the ones beaten off the second time from the exact same thing they went through. So, you die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain type of thing. Because here, where are we? Vegapunk's speech. But what I found there was the record of a breathtakingly vast war. Joy Boy's enemy was the world government of the present day. More accurately, it was the precursor to the world government, a provisional army put together by 20 kingdoms known as the Alliance. You might say they had no other choice. So robust was Joy Boy's faction. Without knowing the spark that caused the war, I won't say who was right or wrong. I'll simply state that the two competing ideologies came head to head. As I mentioned earlier, for its time 900 years ago, the country of Joy Boy's birth was a startlingly advanced civilization. And the weapons that were used over the course of this 100-year conflict appear to be impossible to recreate with the latest of modern science. Even I, a humble genius, cannot replicate them. And therein lies the problem. Where is it? It picks up here. The Void Century came to a close with the defeat of Joy Boy, but not before leaving vast permanent scars of war across the face of the world. The world is made up of a series of islands. Sailing between them is difficult, and many people never experience anything but their own culture at home. But this shared understanding of the world does not necessarily apply to the world of 1,000 years ago, because a cataclysm occurred during the Void Century, causing the world to sink once before we are currently living on the pieces of a continent that existed long ago. Huh? The world of the millennium ago now bears unseen at the bottom of the sea. In fact, one can assume that in the past there were a number of continents we know nothing about. If the world was still the same as it was in the past, then the act of erasing 100 years of history would be simply unthinkable and impossible. However, it makes much more sense when you understand that the rise in sea level over that century was 200 meters. As for why the sea level rose so much during that war, it would be natural to assume the work of a sudden natural disaster, but I can state for a fact that this was a man-made disaster. Right? If such a cataclysm were caused by natural forces, then the initial disaster would have spanned several centuries and inflicted slow but continual damage upon the world. But by any measurable climatology, geology, environmental, and atmospheric science, the dramatic shift could not have happened within a single century. So, the cause is something else. And when I detected the rise in worldwide sea levels the other day, I had my answer. I knew the cause and confirmed its existence. The ancient weapons that sank the world into the sea 800 years ago still exist today and await the moment that they stir once again. In other words, the vast war that arose during the Void Century never came to an end. Now that's important. Think about that, right? I still remember the One Piece is a bathtub theory. Yeah, I get you there. But think about it, right? The earth burned in endless flame. How do you put out the earth being on fire? Sink the fucking earth. And in the hearts of men burned with desire from whispered prayers, the sun god rose. So Joy Boy comes from the acknowledgement of slaves. Someone stands out above the rest, beckoned by the enslaved who reached for the forbidden star. Now, the forbidden star, is that electricity? The mother flame? or the thing in this thing's hand, the sun in this thing's hand? What if the planet of One Piece was a star that was terraformed? If it was a star that was terraformed, low-key, that would be ridiculous. I wouldn't have expected that, I'm not going to lie. But I don't know if that's the case because the god of the land was enraged. So you got a land god. A breath in the abyss, the god of the forest. So you got a land god, a forest god, and a sun god, and a sea god. Let me double check. Skypiea. Skypiea gods. You have the god of the sun, the god of the rain, the god of the forest, and the god of the earth. 4 rulers for 4 continents for 4 blues. No. 4 gods for the 4 places civilization could be. Sun god for the Skypieans. God of the rain for the fishmen. God of the forest for those that live on the Adam and Eve trees. Or on Sabri archipelagos. On those archipelago, like, fauna. Or on the Boeing Islands. God of the earth for the people that lived on land. What does Kashigami mean again? What's the meaning of Kashigami? The serpent that got executed, the god Kashigami, meaning oak god, the serpent of fire. That serpent of fire, to me, is invoking Jormungandr and Lucifer, like, symbology and mythology there. Part of me hates, part of me genuinely hates how much of this is piecing together other little bits and pieces from different theories I've had. For example, have you... Far out. Have you guys read chapter 101 of One Piece anytime soon? You're gonna hate me for this one. I've questioned in the past that what if the One Piece is just in a really stupidly simple spot? Has anyone here heard of the Drake Passage? You'll be forgiven if you don't. The Drake Passage is a real world place. Here we go. The Drake Passage. Fucking, you guys are gonna hate me on this. Come on, give me a big close-up image of it. Nope. I'm just gonna be a dick with it. The Drake Passage. Can you guys see that there? Yep. It is definitely a dangerous water under South America. But have you ever actually seen a satellite image of the Drake Passage? Here. Since I'm playing the fool here. Screen blurs. Here we go. It's somewhat cut off. And it's going to keep cutting off, isn't it? Of course it's cutting off. Alright. If you look at it from a satellite, the point of the Drake Passage is, it hypothetically is what we would consider Jormungandr. It's the head of a serpent. Like a country or multi-country sized head of serpent in the shape of a landmass. Like, I don't know how else to sort of say this. It's this image right here. If I could scroll it over to the left a little bit. Can I pop it out? Inspect. There we go. That's a bit more centered there. Can you guys see that? Is that a little bit easier to see? Alright, so you see how it looks like the head of the snake facing off, but it's underwater? That's why they call it the Drake Passage, because Drake is another word for a serpent. Right? Now, this is where I turn into a dickhead. Chapter 101 of One Piece. Grand Line. We see Reverse Mountain. We see that from a map standpoint of Reverse Mountain has been explored everywhere except for the New World side of the mountain. There is no geological information of it. If the giant fire serpent from this story wrapped the world and died, and that created the Red Line, otherwise known as the Great Serpent Soaked in Blood, Reverse Mountain may be where its head is. Hence why it's a peaked mountain, because it's the head of the body and the tail of the body. Right? There is a possibility that One Piece is just on the Red Line, behind Reverse Mountain. because no one's ever seen that side of Reverse Mountain, as far as we know. And it could be invoking the same idea of the Drake Passage, where it sort of, its head tilts off to the side and then goes underwater partially. The reason I bring that up is if you look at this thing, its body is spiked and torn and ripped, right? But then if you also go back to Reverse Mountain, when they actually scale up it, not only is this the chapter that introduces not sea monsters but sea kings, because there's a difference between the two of them. This is the chapter that introduces all those really big monstrous sea kings that we know of. And mind you, think about it, if there's this one sea king that's like an alpha, the biggest and baddest of all, Shirahoshi being an ancient weapon makes sense, because imagine if all these things had to team up to help try and take down one serpent. The serpents of water versus the serpents of fire. You know what I mean? And we see all these big fellas doing their big fella things, right? But when we get to Reverse Mountain, we don't see the top. But we get these archways built up the spine of it. Ooh, don't cut out now. And up the spine of it, these archways have the one-piece representation of the original artwork of Jormungandr. And we don't know who built these archways on Reverse Mountain to get people up in the first place. And notice when we get to the top of Reverse Mountain, we only see it from 3 sides, and we only see 2 paths of water reaching the top. And then we cut off. And if we go to the next chapter, I don't think we see all 5 sides either. So if we go to it, everything's covered in cloud, everything's covered in fog, you can't see anything, and then you're in this half of the New World, right? I dare say that the One Piece may be on the New World side of this, the opposite side of this. And if all of this is the body or corpse of this giant serpent here, it makes sense, because they also talk about like how Joy Boy or Nika came from like an ancient civilization that was way too advanced. But we don't know if Nika existed. Like, we know the sun god rose in the first world, but we don't know if the sun god Nika or Joy Boy that we know of lived in the first world, or if he just lived in the second world. As in the separation between Nika, Joy Boy, Luffy. Because they would not meet again. They would not meet again. Surely this time they will meet. Do you get what I mean with that? Or really, or am I going a little crazy with it? Because I feel like this right here, I gotta reread Sky Island. And after rereading Sky Island, I have to go pull all... Like, I've got to pull Vegapunk's speech, word for word, put it next to this, and put it next to the runes we see in Sky Island. Because a lot of this, I've sort of predicted in bits and pieces, but not put together in a way that has shown it like this. And, like, you know... Yeah. Yeah, you're on the point there. Alright, look. It's 1:40 a.m. I'm going to wrap this up here. I'm going to be live later. I need to process this and think about this a bit more. I'm going to have to go over so many bits and pieces. That being said, thank you guys and girls for coming through. I could not do this without you. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for more notifications for content like this. Follow me on TikTok. Check out the link tree in the description down below to take you to my Twitter, Twitch, Discord, TikTok, all that good stuff. Until the next chapter of One Piece, or until the next video of mine you watch, whatever it is you're here for, thank you guys and girls for coming through. Peace. Have a damn good day, good day. Charles, I'll do a video for you. I will. Have a good one. Love you all. Peace.